Hello, everyone. Today, we're going to wrap up our discussion on what I think is the best way to eliminate the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle. All right, now, we talked about it a little bit last time, but the best place to be is in what we call the investment quadrant, okay? Well, most people divide that up into two main areas. It would be real estate or the stock and bond markets, right? So let's talk about real estate briefly, because that's not where I'm going to hang out. I'll show you why in a minute. But real estate is much more difficult than folks that teach you all the different ways to get involved with real estate and make money. It's more difficult than they make it seem. You literally have to ride around and you got to go find properties. You got to, normally you're doing it in a city that's already got people that are doing that and have been doing it for maybe 10 or 20 years. And they may beat you to that courthouse and find out where those properties are before you do, or whatever the strategy is. It's just not as easy as it seems. Then if you have properties, you got to deal with people. You got to deal with people who want the toilet changed or the roof changed, whatever. It's not easy. And I find that the stock market and the bond market quadrant is the best place to be for investments for a lot of reasons. Maybe goes beyond the scope of this show, but certainly I'm sold on it. My family has been for 4 generations. So let's talk about the stock market part of it. Basically, when we talk about investing, most people immediately think of something called buy and hold. That's interesting because it seems to be the thing that most people want you to know about out there in the world, including business schools. It's what they teach in the business schools as well. Buy and hold. If they're going to talk about investing, that's about it. And long-term buy and hold, let's add that to it. And here's the fallacy about that. Investing, especially long-term investing, is not how you make money. They want you to think that's how you do it, but it's not. And what we're talking about here is how to get out of that paycheck to paycheck cycle, which means you have to have cash flow, right? Well, long-term investing is not how you make money. Investing is what you do when you already have money. And I'm talking about, a good amount of money. The world doesn't want you to know that, and Wall Street doesn't want you to know that either, probably. The biggest distinction is that long-term investing is how you grow and protect your wealth. It's not how you make the wealth or create the wealth. Now, some people will say, well, Warren Buffett does that. Well, you know what? He does do that now. He buys and holds because he buys the whole business. Obviously, if you own the company, you're going to hold it, right? You're not going to sell it and buy it back and sell it. He made his first money by buying Coca-Cola stock, and then every time it dipped, he wrote covered calls, and the writing covered calls is trading. It's not long-term investing, and people won't tell you that. But anyway, that's the truth of the matter. So think about it this way. In order to make money, you can check this out in Scripture too. It's very, very much authoritative in how it says money is made. But in the world, you just know this. You have to buy something at wholesale, mark it up, and sell it at retail to make money. The way money is made is by taking a product or a service at a low price, marking it up to a higher price, selling it to someone, and taking that profit home to your family. That's how money is made. But what's interesting about that is that a lot of people don't realize you can do that in the stock market. So let's talk about that for a moment. How could we use the stock market to be able to buy something at a low price and sell it at a higher price? And you're already ahead of me, aren't you? If you could buy that stock low and let the market move up and then sell it, you just accomplished it. You bought low, you sold high, and you made a profit. Well, here's the problem with buy and hold is that you don't get enough opportunity of buying and selling and buying and selling over a short enough period of time to create very much money if you're starting with a relatively small amount of money. But you have the potential to do that if you learn how to do what we call a rolling stock strategy, or even a trending strategy where it's kind of rolling as it goes up. And there's a way to do it, because what you can do is when it hits what we call the support line and bounces up a little bit, you can purchase the stock. As it gets up close to the high point where we would have what we call a resistance line, you could sell that stock for a higher price and put that in the bank, right? So now you made a profit. You just let it roll back down and hit the support line again and bounce up a little bit, buy it low, let it ride its way up to resistance and sell it high, and you got another profit on top of that profit. And if it took about roughly 2 weeks for that to happen, imagine how many of those rolls you could do in, say, 3 months, because it gives you a lot of opportunity. Now, I got to be quick to say this. It doesn't always roll up like you think it will in the real world. Would you agree with that? So you have to learn how to manage losses. We don't even call them losses. We call them expenses. But you do that with stop losses. And we're not going to teach how to do that here today, but just know that there is a way to manage the losses when the trade doesn't do what you thought it would do. So as long as you know how to draw the support and resistance lines, which at TRADEway, we teach you how to do that. We've got 4 generations of experience of doing that in our family. We share that with you. And as long as you know the fundamentals of the company, you know it's a good company with good products, et cetera, and the market tone, which is talking about, is the world kind of happy today, or is it sad? Is the market tending to move up, the whole S&P tending to move up? And you get those 3 things together and you push the button, and that thing is at a good buy point near the support line. And then you watch it and you let it do what it's been doing and hope that it does, of course. And if it does, then you sell it near that resistance line, and you do that again and again. And the first time it breaks that pattern, then you stop it out for a reasonably small loss. That's the key. Now, a lot of it has to do with us being able to teach you a way, and believe me, this is very possible to do. We'll show you how to do it with charting and the volume bars on the chart, where you can get into a trade just after the big boys got into that particular stock, and then you could sell it just before they get out of it. And if you could learn to do that, do you think that'd give you potential to make money? Well, that's exactly what we want to teach you to do at TRADEway. And man, there's so many great things. I mean, if you do like real estate, I think I could even talk you out of doing that, because I can show you a strategy called writing covered calls, where you own a stock rather than a house, for example, and you just hold that stock and it should gain in value if you're in a bull market, right? And so you can own the asset, which is great for your balance sheet, right? Because it adds value and grows and appreciates over time in a bull market. And then when it dips, to just rest a little bit, which is what they do. They make these bases as they go up. Then you can write a covered call, and there's your rent money. And guess what? You can do it with a laptop from anywhere. You don't have to go look for properties. You don't have to change the roof. You don't have to change the toilet. You don't have to deal with angry renters that don't want to pay you. Now, Wall Street will pay you when you do these things right, and that's what we're going to teach you to do at TRADEway. So how are we going to break out of that paycheck to paycheck cycle? Well, even while you're still at that job, you can do trading part-time, and all of a sudden you can learn to get your money making money, and that's the key. And over time, that part of your income has the potential to grow, and you might even be able to fire the boss. So guys, we're out of time. So if you want to learn more, check out the links in the description below, and we'll see you next time.